something else I need to do. I need to teach my daughter on a deep metaphysical level how to handle her mind and help her remember who she is. Not just remember, but never ever forget, and hold the flame high for her higher self. I have to teach her about her unconscious mind and how the unconscious mind works. Help her understand negative emotions are not a bad thing and her thoughts do not define who she really is. I have to teach her subconscious mind not to go in a fight or flight response and use her voice of reason, her conscious mind, to discern the situation at hand. This can only happen when her conscious mind, head intelligence, connects to her heart. She needs to learn life conceptually and as well in the context she is in. Make split-second decisions based on all the data input coming at her at once. I know. You don't have to tell me. Do we adults know how to do that? Why should you learn my self-mastery system for moms? This video series will be a summary of why I believe self-mastery is the most important skill to have in life. It's the difference between suffering or eternal bliss. Once you become a self-master, your thoughts can no longer hurt you, and you will feel on top of your game almost every day, even when you do nothing. I've heard a few statements passing by on the internet that I just don't agree with. Statement number 1. Motherhood doesn't make you special. Statement number 2. When you become a mom, you become dumber and less ambitious. Statement number 3. The role of mother belongs at the bottom of the food chain. In this series, I will debunk all these statements and give you my counter arguments for why I believe motherhood is the gateway to your higher self. And you can use your role of mom to become the awakened one. This video is about reason number 1. Our children need us, and not just as parents, but as their philosophy teacher, now more than ever. When my daughter was born, there was no doubt in my mind I was going to become a stay-at-home mom. I wanted the whole experience and not miss any moments. I just enjoyed taking care of my little girl and was doing the best I can. Of course, it helps when you have a husband who fully supports you and wants to be the provider of the family. I am forever grateful to my husband for the opportunity to give my little girl all of me without having to stress how to pay the bills. But even though we raised her in a loving family, slowly but surely I saw her unconscious mind show her face. They say the first 7 years a child is a sponge and absorbs everything she learns from her environment. But neuroscience has as well debunked the myth, tabula rasa, which means we are born a blank slate. Neuroscience says that's not true. From the moment our parents conceive us, the subconscious comes with pre-installed memory. You know, just like buying a new phone. There's the operating system, but nowadays they as well already pre-install all these apps. Some of them you don't need or want, but they are there anyway. And they even made it so that you can't delete them. They are there and you can only disable them. That happens to our baby in our tummy. Apps are being downloaded into her subconscious. Apps that she has inherited from me, her dad, but as well her whole family lineage. When I saw emotions like jealousy, rage, and anger expressed by my little girl, I was at a loss. I felt it was hard not to get angry myself. You're not the boss of me. I am the mom here, right? So you feel yourself being moved by the energy of your child. Her energy becomes your energy. Her emotions become your emotions, and you feel enslaved by them. You can't think straight. All you want to do is for her to feel better again, so you can feel better again, but you don't know how. You feel guilty for making her feel bad, even though you understand intellectually you gotta be the parent, but you want to be her best friend. Some moments, my patience or ability to show her a different way would work. But then I see her fall back into old patterns, so to speak. Of course, she's a little girl, so the old pattern makes little sense unless you realize we pass this behavior on from generation to generation. I felt powerless. I wasn't able to help her master the self, give her emotional intelligent tools that she could use to help her master her emotions. I understand I won't be able to pass that on unless I learn how to master my own emotions. It ignited a burning desire to figure this out. I set out on the journey to master the self. Long story short, I succeeded. I became a seeker, and in 2017 I had a Kundalini awakening and my mind and body were reset. I'm able to see life through the eyes of my higher self. I will tell you in other videos all about my spiritual awakening journey and what I have done to get there, but that's not the point of this story. After my self-realization, I realized something profound. It doesn't matter if I am awake or not. My daughter will still fall unconscious because that is the way the conscious universe has designed the selves. Soul, mind, and body alignment can only happen when all three agree. The mind is the saboteur who separates herself from those two and falls asleep. It's our destiny in childhood to fall asleep. It's our destiny in childhood to become unconscious. That was my big aha moment. Self-realization is an individual experience you must have alone when you are ready. Until that day, you will remain unconscious. But what was more alarming was that I now had as well the experience of how much work it took in order to get there. I realized I could never just teach my daughter by simply telling her what to do. Teaching her right from wrong is not enough. There's something else I need to do. I need to teach my daughter on a deep metaphysical level how to handle her mind and help her remember who she is. Not just remember, but never ever forget, and hold the flame high for her higher self. I have to teach her about her unconscious mind and how the unconscious mind works. Help her understand negative emotions are not a bad thing and her thoughts do not define who she really is. I have to teach her subconscious mind not to go in a fight or flight response and use her voice of reason, her conscious mind, to discern the situation at hand. This can only happen when her conscious mind, head intelligence, connects to her heart. She needs to learn life conceptually and as well in the context she is in. Make split-second decisions based on all the data input coming at her at once. I know. You don't have to tell me. Do we adults know how to do that? I can understand it must sound abracadabra or just way too scientific. But I have looked at this from all angles, and my conclusion is that this is the only way out of suffering. Stick with me in the course of the next few months. I will try my best to explain everything. Motherhood is a beautiful thing, and it's like it gives you a second chance to redo life as a little girl. As I watched her grow and observed my daughter, I had deja vu moments. I saw life repeating itself right in front of my eyes. Now I am a mom, and I understand why my mom made certain choices or said certain things to me that as a child I didn't understand. As a child, you take everything personal. You think it's about you. You're a bad or a good girl. It's impossible for you to separate the behavior from the person. They are the same. Motherhood was the catalyst to my awakening. Now I can understand why, as a little girl, I had internalized things, make them negative, but they weren't negative at all. Only afterwards can you connect the dots. Because as a parent, I hear myself say the same things to my daughter. And all these years, I have been telling myself a story that was negative, but my parents never meant them as negative. I can say that for a fact now. Where does the disconnect happen? When your parents are incapable of giving you an emotional explanation or honest talk about how they feel and why they behave a certain way. Most of us have parents who are unconscious, and when they are, they can't even tell you why they do what they do. It's just automatic programming. As a child, you jump to your own conclusions. What conclusions are those? I need to be a good girl. Stop behaving this way. I must be a bad girl if I do this because my parents always get upset. Even though your parents are trying to stop you from getting hurt. Your parents say no because it is the wise parental thing to say. We have to tell our child no so many times. A child wants everything, and she will ask for everything and will not understand why she can't have it or if you say no. Unless you explain it to her, and if you don't, she will internalize it as not being good enough. She might believe you don't love her because Trina from school gets to have all those things, and obviously her parents love her more. I could see now how it happens. I could see by observing my daughter how we fall asleep. So when you become a mom, you get to see both sides. You get to experience your daughter and how she sees things, and now you have a better understanding because you used to be a little girl too. And when she says certain things, I hear myself like, oh, snap. That's what I said when I was a little girl. But there is something alarming happening in this process. There is a gap between what mom says and how the child perceives it. It's like something is blocking mom from being correctly understood by the child. If I say no, I am the bad guy. But now I can see why. It's because even though I'm conscious, my daughter is not. These 7 years of her life, she inherited all my unconscious patterns. First, from living in my body for 9 months, and then after birth. I saw the loop I was in, and as well realized the loop my daughter was going to be in if I did not set myself free first. I started searching for tools or methods to help me wake up. Because no matter how much I love her, no matter how unconditional my love is, it doesn't matter. she will fall into a deep sleep. By the time she is 21, her programming is complete and the unconscious mind will be in full control. Yes, it's disturbing, but the proof is already out there. Our teenagers are struggling. They do not know who they are, and the collective unconscious makes sure they stay that way. We never had so many children on psychiatric drugs for mental illness in human history. Studies are coming out that social media is destroying, especially our teenage girls. Teenagers who don't see the point of their life and commit suicide, or worse. Imagine someone else's child who is unconscious walking into a high school shooting your kid. I'm not saying we don't need medicine. It's probably desperately needed, because we, the mothers, learned no emotional mastery that will empower us to handle whenever our children are not their best self, whenever they feel not good enough. Can they talk to you? Do you have some wisdom to share? Who were our teachers? Our parents? How did that work out? New technology is taking our children on an emotional roller coaster ride, and we have nothing to protect us against it. We too feel swept up, overrun by emotions, and no longer can keep our cool. We are so distracted by what's going on in the world, stuck to our phone, clicking those selfies, still trying to be that hot mom. But we got nothing for being emotionally present for our children. We are ill prepared to raise our children in the 21st century because the world is coming at us faster than ever before. If I lack the emotional intelligence to guide myself when I'm angry at her father, sad about how fat I am, overwhelmed, or just burned out by all the work I need to do, I do not and will not deal with whatever emotional turmoil my daughter has to deal with, even though the circumstances she is born in compared to when I was born is extremely volatile. My tank is full, and stress relief is now in the form of clicking pretty selfies, right? Making sure I show the world what I eat in a restaurant, but can't pull up the energy to cook a home-cooked meal to save my family's life. It's time we, mothers, share our ancient wisdom and pass it on to our daughters. We need to go back to the fundamentals, because we all want to live in palaces. But what's the point if you build it on quicksand? It's all fake. If we don't even know something simple, like transmuting negative energy into positive energy. Can I reach myself on a deep philosophical level when I'm angry? Or am I just screaming my lungs out because I'm overflowing with emotions? If I don't feel good enough about myself, do I know on a deep philosophical level why I don't feel good enough about myself? If I ended up fighting with my friend, my mother, my sister, my husband, do I know how and why I ended up in that fight? Do I really know what I want to achieve by fighting with them? Or do I just want to control them? Make them do what I tell them to do. Otherwise, I'm going to make them feel bad or guilty for not being a good mom, a good friend, or a good husband. There are so many deep emotional reasons we feel the way we feel, but we don't know how to access those reasons. We have no method or system to learn how to communicate in a way that is constructive and uplifting. Who teaches us how to examine our feelings and make sure that what we think is really true? Once I planted the seed in my mind, there was no stopping me. There was no stopping me from figuring this out. And the stuff that I discovered is deep. I went all the way down the rabbit hole, and because of it, I can ask you questions not a lot of teachers will ask you in your lifetime. Because of my spiritual awakening, I can show you, almost prove to you, where your unconscious is hiding and why. I can snatch her out of hiding for you, but only if you're ready and with your permission, of course. I got so good at it, I can now explain it to my daughter. I will pull up her unconscious mind right in front of her and give her a bird's eye view. I don't allow her to hide. She needs to show me her emotions so they don't form any energy blocks in her body. For us adults, it's too late. We already have those energy blocks. In order to remove them, you need to see the parts you've hidden from yourself. Why? Because I know in my heart, if I don't help you solve this, we all have sealed our children's fate. They will walk through life as teenagers, as young adults, as grown women, completely asleep, unconscious, not knowing who they are and where they're going. It's not our fault, but I said to myself, it ends here now. I'm going to solve this. I'm going to figure it out. So I did. And Fabulous One Philosophy was born from my heart. I don't know how long I will be on earth. Nobody knows. By writing this book, I have put it in black and white. I have given my daughter a gift. She can pass on to her daughter and keep our generation awake. Wouldn't you want the same for your family? When we know who we are and what we are, we can safely teach our children. I have created the Fabulous One framework, a self-mastery system that puts everything in perspective and gives you the emotional tools you need to deal with any situation in life. You can find my framework in my self-mastery study guide with many more eye-opening illustrations and teachings that help you connect to your higher self. So we can change the world by saving ourselves and our families first. Tired of always running circles around yourself, always busy doing but never getting it done? You want the best for yourself if you could just stop self-sabotage and move out of your own way. A good way to start your journey is to join my Self-Mastery School for Moms. In my Self-Mastery School, you will learn who the inner saboteur is and what she wants, how she puts you back to sleep even when you have awakened, how to recognize the inner saboteur in others, how to see the inner saboteur coming so you can protect yourself, and last but not least, how to transform her into your biggest source of power so you can make each day your masterpiece. If this sounds interesting, all links are in the description down below. School doors are open for free right now, and all you need to do is fill in your name and email and join the Fabulous One family. Looking forward to seeing you inside.